Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Build with CEO. But over the next 6 weeks, this is going to be a little bit different. We are going to be talking about Project Get More Clients. And every week, I'm going to teach a different lesson. Those of you that are Riverside listening right now, you guys will have access to the chat. I'll have chat in the other platforms as well. We're streaming to Facebook and we're streaming to YouTube, but I'm not going to have those ones open. So Riverside is going to be the place to be if you want to show up to these episodes live. Likely, if you're showing up for this, you got into the Get More Clients. We can call it a challenge, but I like to call it a project because that's really what it is. And over the next 6 weeks, my goal is every week to give you a lesson and a set of action items to do in order to launch in September with an awesome program and then move those people into a normal coaching program. So we're going to go through really the basics of launching any program. And in today's episode, really it's about setting the foundation. Okay. It's about setting the foundation. So you're going to leave this episode with your perfect client written, your help list started, your offer built out, and really your program shaped. Okay. That's what we want to get done today. And for anyone that's in the Project Get More Clients, you have a really cool workbook that we've developed for you that you can go in and fill out all your stuff. So I put that link in the chat. If you're not part of Get More Clients and you still want to get in, I know we said it was ending last night, but if you want to sneak in, you can go to that link and it'll also be a link in the description. You can go to that link and you can get signed up through there. It's free. So it's going to be a good time. But just because it is free doesn't mean we shouldn't treat it as free, right? The mistake a lot of people make is when you get something for free, you just don't value it anymore. So this is the same information we would teach in a paid program. And this would probably be a paid program, but it's not. We wanted to make it accessible to everybody. And so the virtual workbook, that's going to be your place to go in and keep track of everything, because every week we're going to have certain tasks. This just gives you your list. We're always going to open up the next week. So if you do want to move ahead, you can do that, right? But you don't have to. You can just follow this week by week. We've set it up so that each week you're working on the most important tasks to launch your program in September. And I shouldn't say a program. What we're launching in September is not like a full-blown program. It is a front-end offer or a bridge offer. It's something shorter, right? We're recommending Transform in 4. It's a 4-week program that's then going to lead into a bigger coaching program, because we're not going to solve someone's problem in 4 weeks, but we need to solve a portion of that problem in 4 weeks in order for them to trust us with the next 3 months. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Every Tuesday is when the lesson comes out. I'm going to do them live in conjunction with the Build with the CEO. And so every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, we go live. We talk through the kind of the items for that week. You have an opportunity to come on and ask questions. For people that are part of Get More Clients, they're part of the project, they'll have access to the workbook. And then also you'll have access to the community. So we've created a community inside of Growth Catalyst, our back end, and you can get in there and engage. And I've seen a bunch of people already getting into the community saying what's up. So use that. That is going to be where I'm going to hang out in between these sessions. But if you do have questions on stuff I'm teaching, stuff I'm talking about live, definitely use the chat. And Riverside is going to be the preference there, as I'm going to have that up throughout the session. Whereas YouTube and Facebook, I've got that minimized on a different screen, and I'll bring it up at the end to grab any questions. But Riverside is going to be real time, especially over the next 6 weeks. So there's 3 questions that are going to drive this episode. The first one is, who exactly is this program for? What am I selling them? And what do I charge? And then what do I actually have to do this week in order to launch September 11? So that's what we are going to cover in today's episode. Now, whenever we're launching a new program, right, we need to define who it is for. We need to define the perfect client. The mistake a lot of coaches make when they're launching new programs is they launch stuff they're interested in. I just learned about this new thing. I learned about kettlebells. And so now I'm going to go launch a 6-week kettlebell course. Cool. If your client doesn't care about kettlebells, you put in all that work and effort to launch something. And so we have to think about the program that we're launching from the client perspective. And there's been a lot of terms that people use. We're going to use perfect client, right? We all have a perfect client, someone that doesn't have any issues paying what we're worth. They're a great client. They show up, they do the work, and they ultimately get the result. And they probably stay around for a long time. We want more of those. Okay. So I'd rather have you have less people, but more of those than having a whole bunch of people in this low cost offer and none of them convert into a long term program. Right. This is not about having the most people. This is about having the right people, which is really good if you're a coach that's just starting out, because we don't need tens, hundreds of people. We need it. I shouldn't say tens. We need tens. We don't need hundreds, 200s, thousands of people. We need tens of people and tens of the right people so that we can start building the foundation for our business. So we don't start with the software. We don't start with Coach Catalyst. We don't start with any of that stuff, right? We don't start with what they're going to get, the meal plans, the challenge. We start with the client. Okay. We start with the person. So every decision we make over the next 6 weeks has to come back to the person, right? We have to be seeing this from through our perfect client's eyes. And a good way to figure out our person is a tool we've used a lot. It's called the 3-ring prospect. And I don't have my fancy iPad today. Actually, I lost my little pencil thing. And so it's hard to write on. So you have to visualize a little bit with me. But we call this the 3-ring prospect. So there's 3 rings to this: the geographic, the demographic, and the psychographic. Okay. And so you can think about these as a big ring on the outside and then 2 more on the inside, right? With the bullseye being perfect. So all the way on the outside, that's going to be our geographic. So even if you're an online coach, right, you have certain geography that is going to limit you, right? Do you deliver your program in every language? Likely no. So English is going to be like your language of choice. So that's going to limit your geography, right? I actually encourage most coaches, if you're starting out you're just getting started, to focus locally. Just because your business might be virtual doesn't mean we can't market locally. And you're going to have a lot more success marketing locally than trying to win the internet. So much of what we talk about throughout this particular program is going to encourage marketing locally. And that doesn't matter if you're a brick and mortar, doesn't matter if you're an online coach. Those are just delivery mechanisms at the end of the day. We've chosen to deliver our services in person. We've chosen to deliver our services in a virtual fashion. Marketing is marketing, right? And so we're going to talk about principles here, and then you'll just apply them to your specific situation. So geographic, we first want to own our backyard. We don't want to be worried about marketing to strangers on the internet, right? Or trying to build our social massive, right? The goal is to be able to talk to people in real life. And I guarantee the more conversations that you have, the more clients you're going to have at the end of the day. So it starts with geographic. Okay. The next one moves into demographic. Okay. So do they qualify, right? Do they qualify? And so if this is a more expensive program, or my coaching program is more expensive, there's going to be a certain probably income level that I can work with. And there's going to be certain professions that would warrant that income level, right? We're likely not going after the kind of minimum wage worker. They just don't have enough dispensable income to be able to afford our coaching, right? Maybe they do. I've seen in all cases, people find the money to make stuff happen if the pain is strong enough, but the vast majority of them aren't going to be there. So we're going to start kind of narrowing that down. Is it men versus women, right? Do I work with just one sex, which is very possible, right? Do I work just with entrepreneurs or just with business owners? Because this really starts to figure out, all right, where do I find these people, right? And so I don't just help women lose weight. Like, what type of woman, right? Are they premenopause, perimenopause, postmenopause? Are they competing in bodybuilding shows? Are they we have to really dive into the demographic and who this person is. Go super, super deep. And I can help you guys with this in the community, because this is arguably the most important part about everything that we do. If we can clearly define who this program is going to be for, right? What problem it's going to solve for them, everything else down the line becomes a whole lot easier. So we want to spend some time with this. Okay. So think geography, think demographic, and then finally we want to think psychographic. Basically, what's going on inside of their head. We've strategically placed this front end offer, this bridge offer, in September because it matches the psychographic of most people. Okay. All of us have a rhythm throughout the year, right? And so summer has a very kind of distinct rhythm to it. And whether you have kids or not, September and this kind of entry into fall has a different rhythm to it, right? Most people think of summer as a little bit more carefree. Our schedule is a little bit more open, more barbecues, more staying up late, more maybe time with friends, right? And then September, we get structure back, right? So in our prospects, in our perfect clients' heads, they're starting to search for structure and they're finding structure again in their lives. So now it makes sense to be able to insert what we're doing because it fits with where they're going. So that's what we call the psychographic, right? And we deliberately play to that psychographic by launching this in September, right? Because life is getting a little bit more normal. But we want to think about like some of the other things, like what are they thinking about? What are their pains? What are they struggling with? What keeps them up at night? Right. I don't really like the what keeps them up at night term, but it makes sense, right? What are these things that they're constantly thinking about? And they're actively looking for solutions to, right? They may be doing searches on the internet, things like that. And so that's what's going on in the client's head. Now, the bullseye of this, right, is geographic, demographic, and psychographic all meet in the bullseye. We check all of those boxes, right? That then becomes the perfect client. So inside of your workbook, and I'm going to show you because this thing is fancy and I want to show it off a little bit and it's super cool. And if you're not part of the Get More Clients program, then you need to get into the description and get it because this is super cool. So here's going to be your, this is your portal, right? Getmoreclients.coachcatalyst.com. And then you'll kind of get into it. And once you're in it, you're going to see here, right here, what I just talked about, right? Our 3-ring prospect. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to start putting that stuff into actual practice, right? So we're not just talking about it, we're giving you the tool to be able to start doing this, right? Maybe we want to change the date on when we're doing this. We can come up here, change the date of it, right? Maybe we want to change the price, things like that, right? We can do all of it here, but the goal is to take you step by step by step through this so that you execute all of the things you need to do in order to move on to next week. But this middle part, this 2 part is where you're going to fill out all of your information and then it lives there. So when we're building copy or having Claude build us copy or anything like that, right? Everything that you built out lives right here. Okay. So we'll want to find the bullseye where all 3 rings are working together. They're close to you, they're qualified to buy, and they're already leaning your way, meaning they're kind of searching for the problems that you solve. Right. And this is for this person who is dealing with this. Okay. So that's step 1. And spend time there. Spend time there. And that will make everything else easier. Don't just skip through this really quick. Dig into it in some detail. Use AI, use Claude, use Gemini, use GPT, whatever you use that to help you get really crystal clear on this. And so I saw a couple people jumping in the chat. Page doesn't load. Try refreshing. If not, I'll get the tech team to kind of figure that stuff out. Maybe Carrie, if you guys are super nice, will teach you how we create these really cool sites so that when you guys are running stuff, you have cool tools like this too to be able to interact and engage with your participants. So, all right, sweet. All right, let's get into the next piece. So that is job number 1, define your perfect client. That's where we're going to start. Okay. Get that done. Spend some time on it. The next one after that, we are going to start building out our help list. Okay. Every person listening to this has an audience, right? Every person listening to this has an audience. Okay. You have a cell phone. That is an audience. You have a social media following, likely, right? You have friends on social media, whether you use it a lot or not, indifferent, right? You likely have friends on social media. You know people locally. You likely have connections to local businesses, the salon you go to, the gym you go to, where you get your nails done, where you buy gear. Like you have audiences. We all have audiences, whether we like it or not. And so we need to then come up with our help list. So my challenge to you is to find 20 names of people that once we've defined the perfect client, who fits that perfect client. 20 names. Come up with it. Go through your phone. If you have an established business already, go through previous clients. Which clients do you really like that you'd love to have back? And then we all have clients that we would never want to have back. We don't reach out to those people. They don't go on our help list, right? Only people you want to help that are going to like make your life better, that you feel like they are an addition to your life. They don't suck all of your energy. Okay? We're going to come up with that list and get crazy with it. Get more than 20 if you can. The bigger this list becomes, the easier the next step is, which is filling this thing, right? So step one, define perfect client. Step two, build your help list, build it out, right? And then step three, then we're going to move into the offer. So one thing with the help list, like we're not doing anything with that thing yet. We just need to build it. We need to build it, brainstorm it. You're going to need to let it sit for a little bit and keep growing it, right? But we're just going to build that out. We're not doing anything yet. And then once we're there, we're going to build the offer. So the offer is essentially the promise. It's a promise with a price, right? So we have the perfect client, right? What's the outcome we can get them in 4 weeks, right? And that outcome should be related to the pain that the person has, right? But we need to have some sort of outcome that we can help them achieve in 4 weeks, right? Very, very clear outcome. So in 4 weeks, client gets outcome they said they wanted, right? In 4 weeks, it could be you lose 6 pounds if it's a weight loss. Transform in 4 is definitely leans more towards weight loss, but drop a pant size, right? Or drop a dress size, right? If we can make that outcome very tangible, that's even better. I'm not a huge fan of like, have more energy. Like, what does that mean? Like, how do we know if we've even achieved that? Right. And so we want to have a clear outcome that they can achieve. And if you don't know, again, use AI to brainstorm to figure out what kind of outcome they can achieve. If you're using Transform in 4, okay, it is very much a challenge and it is very much nutrition related and it is very much weight loss related. So if you're using Transform in 4, which is what we recommend, if you don't have anything else to use that one. I'll kind of teach you how to tweak it, but we're not concerned about that right now because you're going to give it its own name. But Transform in 4, realistically, in 4 weeks, right, a client could lose 8 pounds, maybe even 10 pounds if they're really dialed in, right? 10 pounds of weight. Very reasonable. It's an outcome, right? So now when someone sees that, right, they're like, cool, I want to lose weight. This program's going to help me lose 10 pounds, right? You have people that have done it. All right, cool. Go grab it, right? And so I had a couple of questions that came in. Transform in 4 is the program that we're recommending for this particular challenge. I will talk about it at the end. It is inside of Coach Catalyst. So you just got to go into the marketplace and download it. It's all free in there. But part of your homework is going to be to kind of go through that challenge as well and make sure that it's all dialed in. But there will be some kind of Coach Catalyst tasks that I'll get to at the end. Okay. So we want to write our 1-line promise. Okay. Your promise on what that client can expect to achieve inside of the 4 weeks. So Maddie asks, I'm always hesitant to promise too much weight loss in a short period. 5 pounds, cool. Whatever you feel that people can stick to. The other thing that we've done in the past that's worked really well is you have your promise, right? And you basically have your guarantee is we'll coach you for free until you hit it, right? As long as they execute X, Y, and Z, right? If someone shows me that they're putting in the work, they're doing the things, I see the habits checked off, I see the food logs, like I see all the stuff, they're showing up for workouts and they're not getting the result. That's more of a me problem, right? I'm not giving them the right tools in order to be successful with it. And so you want that outcome to be big enough where someone's like, okay, it's worth the effort, right? But you want it to be achievable. This isn't like, we're not trying to inflate things like, hey, you're going to lose 30 pounds in 4 weeks. Like y'all are professionals. You know what's possible in the time frame, right? But again, it all refers back to what is the outcome my perfect client wants, because that may not be weight loss, right? And you can still use Transform in 4 because it is a nutrition education program. You might just tweak some of the habits and those kind of things to fit what you're trying to help them accomplish, right? Maybe you're a sleep coach and it's like, in 4 weeks, we're going to get you to sleep through the night because like that's your deal. Cool, right? That's the outcome. Awesome. I'm not sleeping right now. I want to sleep through the night. This is going to work for me. Sign me up. Okay. And so we want to build the offer then. Really, the offer is the promise with the price. So we come up with right? The one line promise. And then we start deciding on our price. This is always, everyone's always super worried about price. And just so that everyone knows, no one knows what to charge. And usually people just charge kind of what other people are charging. But the thing is, like, those people don't know what to charge either. So the vast majority of people probably listening to this are more online coaches where we don't have a lot of infrastructure. Cool. Right. At a gym or a brick and mortar, way more infrastructure, right? We have rent, we have utilities, we have all of these things, right? But if you run a really lean online business, you don't have a lot of that. But we shouldn't necessarily factor that in because I'm not selling widgets. I'm selling a result, right? So the value is actually in the mind of the client, not yours. You're trying to just match the two. So the bigger the pain, right, the more I can charge. And the example I give people all the time is if I was a like a back pain specialist and you came to me and you were in the worst pain in the world, right? And I had the solution to your back pain and I have a wall of people that say I've done it for them, right? There's social proof, there's authority, all of those things that we need in order to charge a fair amount, and you believe that I can do it for you, you will likely pay me any amount of money in order to get out of back pain, right? And if I am successful with it, getting you out of back pain, you won't even regret any amount of that money because the pain was so great, right? So most of us aren't dealing with pains that are so great, right? But to some people they are. And our goal is to find those people, right? Because then price just becomes, it just becomes, it becomes something that we don't even need to talk about, right? Where we charge a fair amount for what we're doing. And the fun part is on the back end, we have some stuff kind of built into our website. You guys are going to put in what you are going to be charging for this, and we'll be actually able to collect that data anonymously and give you averages on what different people are charging for the 4 weeks. So, all right, moving on to the next one. So we've got the offer, right? What do we charge for it? So mistake I see most coaches make is we are too far apart from our bridge offer, front end offer to what our normal coaching is. Let's say I charge $500 a month for coaching, or I have a program that's 3 months long. That's $1,500. Okay. And then I charge $19 for my kind of 4-week intro. Mismatch, right? Different clients, different buyers. So I don't think you need to be at your monthly coaching, but I think you should be close. So the formula I've given you guys is 0.75 times your monthly price. So if your monthly price is $500, right? I should have used a better number. Let me see if I can figure out a better number. So let's say it's $400. This gives me better math, right? Let's say your program is $1,200, $400 a month. We could charge $300 for front end offer, right? For those first 4 weeks, because the person that buys for $300 will likely buy for $400. We're giving them a little bit of a discount because maybe they don't know us, maybe they don't like us yet, maybe we haven't built enough authority, right, in their mind. And so we want to give them a little bit of room, but we want to charge enough where the client is bought in and they're going to get the result, right? So 0.75, right? 3/4 of what you normally would charge is a good place to start. If you're charging $200 a month, that 149-ish range works really, really, really well. And then originally, and this is, I believe, in the workbook, but this workbook's kind of like it ebbs and flows here. So I've been going back and forth on this, on how many prices you should have. And if you are a brand new coach and you're just getting into this thing, I want to try to reduce as much complexity as possible in your business. So it's one price. This is what it costs. Okay. If you have already some complexity in your business or you've been doing this for a while, we can look at multiple price points. Okay. So now we may have one-to-one coaching as part of this, and that's a high ticket type of thing. And then we may have a group kind of coaching component that's a little bit lower, and then maybe a third one. And I'll give some examples for brick and mortars because I'll talk about how we're thinking about it at our facilities. But for the online brand new coach, don't complicate. You're going to want to have 5 different prices. You have one. What is the best solution to your client's problem? That is what you go with. And you probably don't have a ton of clients, so you can give all that effort and time and energy into those clients. So just do the one-to-one coaching. It's what it is. Once you get stupid busy, we can talk about other things, but right away, brand new coach, don't have a lot of clients, just do that. Okay. Your life is going to be a whole lot easier, a lot less complexity. And then that is the sell. If we're struggling with that, we can look at alternatives, but that is where you want to start. So how am I thinking about this at our facilities? So we have brick and mortar facilities. We also sell training. Think like small group personal training. We do nutrition coaching. We do all of that. Challenges are a way for us to get clients. They're also a way for us to move people into our Project Orange, which is our transformation type program. So we are going to be using this as our bridge offer into Project Orange, which is our big 6-month transformation. We have the luxury of having a gym where clients come in and train with the gym. So we're kind of including some of that inside of it. So we'll have a few different price points. We will offer this to our clients, right? Where they can add it on to their current training membership. But then we will also have an upgrade where if they would like to upgrade and add on another day of training, they can upgrade to add on another day of training. And so we're going to give you guys these ideas of like boosters. And so what else could you potentially add if you want to have multiple price points in order for something to be more successful, right? To increase the value of said program. Like for us, we can add on the training component to it. As a nutrition coach, maybe you could add on a customized workout program or something like that. Maybe you could add on a virtual grocery store tour or something like that. So I want you to just kind of think about that because that's all going to play into the price. But if you're a brand new coach, again, remember, brand new coaches, one offer. That's it. You don't get to get fancy. One offer. Go get clients. So that's your only issue. That's your only thing. If you have a number of clients or if you have an established business, now we can start to get a little bit creative. And so focus on the offer. So SPS, these boosters can be managed in the app. So it depends on what those boosters are, right? If it is workouts, yep, absolutely can be inside of the app. But I'll give kind of more ideas around boosters, but I don't want people to focus on that so much. Right? Those are going to be a nice addition. Remember, this is a bridge program, meaning the goal of this program is to get people into it, wow them for 4 weeks, get them the outcome I promised, and then move them into my bigger, longer coaching program. Right? That is the entire goal. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish with this particular program. Let's not get it twisted. This is not your business. The 4-week program is not your business. We don't run challenge businesses. We run coaching businesses, which take a whole lot longer to get results than just the 4 weeks that we're going to do during this one. Okay. Last job for this week. And let me just make sure I checked all my boxes here. Really, last job for this week is to set your goal. Okay. How many people do you want in the program? Because then we work backwards with the math. If I want, let's say 10 people in this program, which is very reasonable, I'm likely going to have 30 to 40 conversations in order to get 10 people into the program. Okay. And so every stage, things are going to drop off. So I want you to think about how many people realistically, based upon what you have available to you. Right? If you have a massive email list, right, and a bunch of other things, a lot of trust, right? You've been doing this for a long time. You might be able to get more people into it because you just have a bigger audience. If you're just getting started out, right? What would 5 clients paying you $400 for the 4 weeks? Would that be enough? Right? Figure that number out because then we're going to go from there. And just easy way is, all right, if I want 10 people, I'm probably going to be able to pitch it to 20 people, but then I'm going to have to talk to 40 people. Right? I'm going to talk to 40 people. Half of those people will have a bigger conversation with me. Right? And then half of those people will actually sign up for the program. Right? And that's just easy math. It's likely a little bit lower than that. So we just need to have enough conversations. Right? We need to have enough conversations. And that ultimately, like if you tracked any business KPI for this entire thing, how many conversations did you have today? If you had 5 conversations every day until this thing launched or the card opened in the end of August, you would likely do it filled. Okay. But if we don't have any conversations and we're just going to rely on posting on social media and all of those things, it's going to be a lot harder unless you have a huge reach and 1 million followers. Cool. But I've even seen it before. Just a big reach doesn't necessarily mean anything. Just because people are in your world as a follower doesn't mean they're an actual buyer. So more on that in other episodes. And then the last piece, you're actually going to jump into the program. And I've got another special surprise for you guys that are all part of this. I've created another program that you can use as well. You'll just have to let me know if you want it. It's not quite done yet. But we've got the Transform in 4. So inside of Coach Catalyst, you're going to install Transform in 4. You're going to go into the Coach Catalyst marketplace. You're going to grab it, and then you're going to download it and just get it in your account. Call it something different. Call it something different. You maybe have come up with a name at this point. Call it that, right? And you're going to just rename it. You're going to look inside of it, and you're just going to start getting familiar with it. I do not want you to spend more than 10 minutes inside of this thing. We will be designing and developing this program later. Right now, it's about selling. Okay. Later, we can work on fulfilling. So that is not an important task right now. But because you're likely good at this stuff and you like the education and you like it, like you like this, you're going to want to spend a lot of time in that. But right now, that is not the time. This is not the time to spend time and effort in that particular program. Okay. And so the goal right now is just to get it, get familiar with it, put it in there, because it may change to based on the conversations that you're having with clients, right? You may want a few different things in there and it'll evolve. But if we try to get it right now, it may be wrong when we decide to launch and we'll have to redo it again. So I'm going to tell you when to get in there and do it, because right now is not the time to do it. We just want to get it inside of your account. But what I was going to say is we have Transform in 4. It's a great challenge, heavy nutrition related, very good education around nutrition, can work as a transformation challenge, but could fit in with almost anything where nutrition is playing a big part. You might just change the habits and that kind of stuff. Program that I'm going to be finishing up is a GLP-1 program. So if you are using a company like Asher, then you'll have a program to run for those types of people. So a weight loss program that incorporates GLP-1 or the tools of GLP-1, right? Or I guess you could add, you could do a GLP, GIP, tirzepatide type of thing if you wanted to as well. So that is something that we're going to be running at our facility. So I'm developing it for our facility, but I'm going to give it to you guys as well. If you want it, I'll likely just post the link in the community and you can download it if you want to go that route. Okay. But again, we're not super focused on the actual like delivery, right? Like what we're going to be delivering, right? Because we don't care about that. Right now, we're fine. We're getting the offer. We're getting the offer. We're getting our help list together. Like what we're selling, the promise. That is what's important in week 1 is the promise. And then we can build the program later to solve the promise, right? Or we have most of it built with something like Transform in 4. But this week is all about the promise. It's about defining the perfect client. So really, let's go in the order that we should be doing it. We define the perfect client. We figure out their problems. We develop the offer and the promise to solve that problem that they're aware of. And then we start building our help list of people that fit the perfect client and have those problems. Build that client list out. Cell phone, social media, Facebook, go through your friends on Facebook, like use anything at your disposal, right? Build that stuff out, help list, right? And then once we get through that stuff, then let's just get some of the back end Coach Catalyst stuff in there, get that in there, get your custom community set up if you're going to be doing that. Just get some of these back end infrastructure things set up, but we're not going to be diving deep into this stuff. Okay. So that's really kind of your kind of marching orders for this week. Oh, the last thing, the launch numbers, right? How big do I want this cohort to be? Right. So if I want it to be 10 clients, just realize that I'm probably going to have like 25-ish to 40-ish conversations. And I'm probably going to need like 60 to 100 names in order to get there. And so that's where the help list comes into play. I'm going to give you other strategies that will kind of help amplify this stuff. But for right now, the help list is the easiest thing that you can get going right at the moment. And so also define your date. Like what we've set is September 11th, which is essentially the Friday after Labor Day in the United States. I wouldn't recommend doing anything starting before that. Most schools, most everything gets going after Labor Day. And so you don't want to be caught up in that mix if you are dealing with a population that may still have kids at home. And so you could push it a little later if you wanted to, but for the purposes of this, we are recommending September 11th as a kickoff date for your program. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday are like our prep days. And then the challenge would actually start the following Monday. And so, yeah, and I realized that like 9/11 does all kind of come together. And so There are ways that you could play on that I'll talk about later, where you can play into that, I should say, because it is going to be in the psychographic of that person. Maybe we're giving some stuff away, things like that. If you wanted to start a little bit earlier, cool. Start it on a Thursday, just add another prep day to it. And so, yeah. So all of this is modifiable. We're trying to give you like, just do this. If you don't know what to do, we're going to give you the just do this, but just know that anything can be changed. So I want to run through questions here just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Replays for this will all be inside of the portal once it all gets uploaded. I'll also be posting them in the community. And then inside of the portal, once we push the updates to it, you'll have a link to the community as well. So let me see here. Yes, we can view these videos later on. Cool. Movement optimization. Don't sell a lot of weight loss. However, I work with sustainable habits too. Right. So let's say we do a movement thing. Like, why would someone hire you? And all right, so here's another way. Look at your last 5 clients. What was the problem that they came to you with? And if you have a good relationship, interview them. Like, why did you hire me? They will tell you the problem that they had, right? And then we can use that problem in their own words. So if we're struggling to figure this stuff out, talk to your clients that you already have, if you have clients. If you don't, then we got to take a little bit of a shot. So if you don't, we're going to have to kind of figure it out. Maybe it's a personal story, something like that. Looks like Jacob just dropped the link to the community there, so you should be able to log in. But yeah, talk to your clients. They'll tell you exactly what they've got going on. All right, we got the community in there. Let me see if there's any other major questions here. All right, not sure how to sell it until I have a clear vision of what I'm selling, who. So what are we putting in the emails we may be sending to start marketing? We're not marketing yet. We're not marketing yet. We are building out the infrastructure to do all of the marketing. So that's what this week is all about. We're not even like teasing. We could tease that something is coming, but we're not even worried about that step right now. That's kind of getting ahead of it. Recommend outcome being in the title, or is it like a subtitle? It will be part of your headline, likely. And we'll get into all of like those pieces, but we're all getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, I come up with what I just talked about before, right? We start with the 3-ring prospect. We find our perfect client, right? We really come up with that problem or the offer that's going to solve the problem they have. We come up with that huge help list, decide on a price, check all of those boxes. Then we can start talking headlines, subheadlines, all of that fun stuff. But none of that matters until this is really, 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 really dialed in. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful. The conversation will continue in the community. If you have any more questions, things like that, please tag me. It makes it a little bit easier for me to find things. If you are not part of Project Get More Clients, if you go to the link that Jacob posted, you can still sign up. So I don't know when we're going to close it down. I don't want people joining too late because you'll be behind. But if you do join after, just know that you'll have to go back and do stuff previously. But for those of you here, congratulations, you showed up. That's step 1. Now spend a half hour or so just getting to work, checking off your boxes. And then we will look into the Growth Catalyst 1 on why your boxes aren't fillable. So we'll just check all of that out. And if there's anything else you guys see that's a little wonky, let us know so that we can get it all fixed up. But every week, it'll all be in there. So appreciate you guys for... Oh, all right, Jamie, they are fillable. Sweet. Then I won't bug people about it. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, technically, this is Build with the CEO. So it's where we help coaches build real businesses. But for the next 6 weeks, we're helping you get more clients. So have a great rest of your day. See you later.